Over the years, cars have changed, the city's changed and grown, but our commitment to the customer and help build families hasn't changed. And that's how 100 years happened.
So I think it's pretty special to be able to say that, Dueck is 100 years.
There's lots of successful people in Vancouver, but I think that true measure of success is the legacy you leave, the difference you make.
Somebody in the last 100 years in your family or a friend that you know has bought a car at Dueck. That's amazing.
When Dueck started in 1926, Dueck was downtown. There wasn't a big city that had spread out around it or anything.
Well, it was probably one of the biggest GM dealers in the country back then.
The Dueck organization was, through the 50s and 60s, was bigger than life. It was a large organization. I mean, there were stories of them shipping a trainload of cars with a big sign on the side of it bound for Dueck in Vancouver. Those were the kind of things that were just bigger than life. The Dueck family continued through the 70s and in the 80s, invested in the community. It's not often that you can go to a company and say, well, your great-grandfather bought us cars here.
I'm a grandfather, so I am selling cars to my customers' grandkids. Some of them have become like family.
I've always had a fascination with Duecks because my dad bought his cars off of Dueck. I'd go down with him probably when I was like 7 or 8 years old. Always get a little die-cast car and stuff.
You really have to be able to grow the customer for life, and that doesn't come from poor service. That comes from great service. So
we sometimes take for granted what a car sale means to a customer, because we do it every day. This could be the last vehicle the customer purchases in their life. This is the first new vehicle that they bought when they got out of university. This is the vehicle that they want to surprise their son or daughter for graduation of high school. When you see what it means to your customer, those are really the special moments.
A customer knows that, we're going to be here tomorrow. We're going to be here the next day, and that we will look after you. That's made me feel comfortable being able to do that and come back to work the next day knowing that I can answer the phone. I'm not hiding from anything because I can look after the customer.
And the Dueck difference is really its people. We run a staff now between our stores of just about 400 people. And when your people start to live the part of it's their company too, that's about as good as we can get.
You were proud to walk into this place every day and work because it really, really is the flagship of General Motors dealerships in Western Canada.
To have loyal employees. We have employees now that have been with us 50 plus years. So we've always treated it as a family business.
I should have been retired 10 years earlier, but I enjoyed what I was doing. That's why I stayed on so long.
I would say Dueck is probably, in my 38 career, one of the best dealerships I've ever worked with. This was the first place that I felt I could hang my hat up until I'm going to retire.
Success happens when a community trusts you and you protect that trust. It's very important to me that we stand behind every handshake, that we look after the customer properly. I think Dueck is a very key part of the Vancouver landscape.
We just, from the very beginning, wanted to give back to the community. My husband and I always said, both fortunate to have 2 healthy children, and therefore we needed to give back. That's how I became involved with Ronald McDonald House, then later Special Olympics and Canucks for Kids.
I met the Keith family. They kind of became my second family. They really taught me about what it meant to make a difference. There was a boy at Ronald McDonald House, and I came and picked him up in a Corvette. Maury had said, hey, take this, and so that was kind of his dream, to kind of go for a ride in a Corvette with Trevor Linden. That'd be pretty cool, right? So one of the most impactful things that's ever happened to me in my life.
You often meet people of influence who can make things happen. They don't always do. Not the Keith family. They have been so supportive, and their commitment to Special Olympics is 35, 40 years. They talk about inclusion and talk about treating people with intellectual disabilities as they would treat anybody else. Staying around for 100 years only happens when you are able to be seen as a pillar of the community, and I think they are.
It seems hard to believe that it is 100 years, I must admit, and I think great pride in the fact, because I don't think there are a tremendous amount of companies that are still alive after 10 years.
Pull up a list in BC of how many companies are 100 years. You know, it's not very many. And then not many people can go and say their employer has been there for 100 years. And they're a part of that now and the legacy of Dueck in 100 years. And they're able to grow that tradition and keep that going, I think. So I think it's not as much a celebration just for our family, it's a celebration for their families.
I want you to know how proud I am of our organization, and I think we have many more years to come.
For 100 years, nobody beats a Dueck deal.
For 100 years, no one beats a Dueck deal.
For 100 years, nobody beats a Dueck deal.
For 100 years, nobody beats a Dueck deal.
For 100 years, nobody can beat a Dueck deal.
Thank you, Vancouver, for 100 years. And remember, nobody beats a Dueck deal.